Then in today's world, right? I mean, we all come from a background where we all have been taught continue to read research papers because that is what will keep you aware of what is happening at the leading edge. Today, where you literally have something coming up every minute, right? As a researcher, how do you keep pace with so many things that are happening?
Yeah.
I mean, what's your recipe? I have personally not been able to find a good answer to that even now. Right? Uh, I I do my way today still is that I follow a couple of very selected people on social media, and if something is coming, if a paper is important enough, then I know one of them will kind of mention them, and that's my way of kind of saying what is super relevant or what is the bleeding edge. But then as somebody, my journey is more from a product and startup lens. Yours is more from a research lens. So how do you manage this dilemma where there is so much to read that you can spend your entire life as well over there, but at the same time you have to work on your own ideas, your own things, right, to
Yeah.
produce your own body of work. So in today's world, how are you managing this?
Uh, the short answer is that I'm not managing it well, right? Like, so it's as you said, like it's it's impossible to do that, right? Like there is a lot of work, like, and so there is a lot of, as you said, like papers, research, and like it's just not just papers and research. There's a lot of stuff in like blogs and projects that like independent projects that people are working on. Like, I've sort of realized recently that like that stuff is like a lot more useful at times, as compared to like research papers, because I mean, we are, as I said, like we are going to be working on products, and you would want to kind of take up something that that's that can be used in your product, right? And then things that people are trying, they are kind of like, if I can try it on my laptop, that means I can sort of also build in my product. But if you have some research project that takes so much of compute, I don't know how I will go and like justify that, right, to get that compute or like those tiny gains. So it's really difficult, to be honest, like so I'm not doing a really good job at it. But I can tell you some, like my recipe for it, right? I totally agree with you that some set of people, right? So over the years, kind of build or like start liking some, I'm not an influencer, but like some maybe scientists and folks, right? Some leaders in the field. And if few of those are talking about something, maybe that's important, that's relevant, and you can check that out, right? But not just people, I also pay attention to like labs. Okay. And yeah, like what in this current field right now, like there are a lot of labs and a lot of work going on, but I don't I I try to at least skim through what like Meta AI puts out. Okay, like that's one of the labs that I do care about the work that they are doing, and since they're also kind of building those things in their product, so there is like a lot of interesting lessons, right? I have not finished reading the Llama 3 full report, but like the parts that I have, like there's a lot of information in there, so that's another thing. uh, then but like one big problem here is that earlier we used to be focused, somewhat, right? Like, so I was doing recommendation and personalization, so I knew set of people, I knew there are these conferences, I would read through what's happening in KDD and SIG-IR. But now, since the bar has sort of lowered, that everything, right, like there's so much more content, more research that is coming in, right? So I think you got to accept at some level that won't be able to read or even like know of it all, you know uh, but it also helps to surround yourself or like be in touch with folks who are at the forefront of it. So I have some colleagues, and I and you can in a corporate setting, one thing that has helped me a lot is to maybe set up some like reading groups, like paper reading group. Have,
Correct.
uh, you invite people around that who are kind of reading more about it. There are maybe in my current role, there are in my current company there will be people at MSR who are doing like pure research, and that's going to be very, very useful. So you invite them, you talk to them. So I think that is one big advantage of working in large companies, that there are experts for everything.
Fantastic.